Mr. Duncan? Mr. Duncan, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. The time is 6:28. I'm gonna go ahead and call this Finance and Policy Committee meeting to order. It is April 3rd. We are in City Hall Council Chambers. Members present are myself, Michael Reynolds, Miss Diane Kuznar, and Miss Carol King, as well as various department heads, our illustrious mayor, and other citizens. First order is going to be public comment. Anyone in the audience wish to speak to this committee? Seeing and hearing none. Next item is going to be reading and approval of minutes. What do I hear on these minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March the 6th, 2023 as submitted.
Thank you, Ms. Kuznar. I have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted for March 26th. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion changes? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no likewise. Carries unanimous. Next item is going to be reports and communications from city officers. First up is Mr. Seth Duncan, our city administrator.
Nothing to report tonight, sir.
Easy enough. All right, next item is going to be Ms. Holly Abercrombie, our finance director.
Good evening, committee. All I have to report on is budgets overall citywide look good. Property taxes have come in strong, and we are eagerly awaiting to see how our business licenses do this month, mid-month, whenever they come in. Other than that, I don't have anything else unless you have any specific questions.
Any update on the budget? It's going swimmingly. Perfect. Thank you, Ms. Abercrombie. Were there any questions from Ms. Abercrombie? Hearing and seeing none. Next is Mr. Mark Putnam, our Human Resources Director here at the city.
Good evening, Chairman Reynolds, committee. Wanted to let you know that in March, we had our first employee engagement roundtable discussion where we had 12 employees that were from all departments throughout the city. And we talked about a number of things. What brought them here to, what made them want to be employed with the city of Mauldin, what keeps them here, and then what can we do to make their employment with us better. And we gathered all of that information, and we have already discussed that with city administrator, and we will be bringing it to the department heads next Monday just for discussion and go that. It is the first. We're going to have one a month, and we're going to have different employees each time so we can get as broad of a view of what's good, what can we improve as much as we can. Another thing, we're working very hard on recruiting. That's a difficult task these days, but something that we work on diligently every day to try to find the best employees for the city.
Very good. Any questions for Mr. Putnam? Interested to hear about your roundtable discussions with the employees and appreciate the out-of-box thinking on.
Certainly we'll do that.
All right, next item is unfinished business. We have none. So we'll move on to new business. You'll turn in your packets. We have an ordinance for the agreement and supplemental for local revenue service programs. Mr. Duncan, this is kind of a housekeeping item. Would you update the committee on what this is and what you'd like us to do?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. We recently received an email from the Municipal Association that as a result of the 2020 General Assembly passed standardization business licensing Act, there were some changes that were being made at the Municipal Association with regards to 3 specific programs that they administer for us. They include the insurance tax program, the broker's tax program, and the telecommunication tax program. So essentially what the act did was they wanted to change the name of that program from what it was before to a new what's called local revenue sources. And part of that required a new agreement and required a few other housekeeping items, which established an appeal process. The terms that were in the old ordinance will be updated And the new agreement is intergovernmental agreement among all of the participating governments rather than a series of standalone agreements. So this is something that we have been asked by the association and all participating members throughout the state to have passed by May. I believe there was a deadline of like May 24th or 5th. I'll verify that. The new program documents will not substantially change the operation of the local revenue service programs. The municipal association will continue to administer and collect business license tax within the ITP, BTP, and TTP. The rates for the municipal association services will remain exactly the same as they are now. And finally, the final distributions and the amounts collected will be made in the same manner at the approximately the same time as they are now. This is more of a routine housekeeping update.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Layman's terms, change a couple of names, add an appeals process, make sure we're in line with everybody else so we can still receive the insurance tax money through the municipal association.
Very succinctly put, sir.
Perfect.
That's it.
Okay, so what we need from this committee is to move this forward to full council. Do we have any questions? Well, I'll let committee.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to forward to full council the recommendation to approve the ordinance, agreement, and supplement for local revenue service programs.
Thank you, Ms. King. I have a motion to forward this to full council. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion, questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 It carries unanimous. Will be sent to full council for our next council meeting. Mr. Duncan. All right. Next item is going to be, generally speaking, the comp and class plan. So the mic's going to go to Mr. Putnam. You should have received a document from him talking about what he's.
Thank you
gonna talk
again.
about.
Chairman Reynolds, committee. Staff would like to recommend that committee bring to full council during the April 17th council meeting to move forward with the recommendations made by Evergreen Solutions concerning the 2022 comp and class study. These recommendations are as follows. Follow the hybrid proposal that would ensure that all employees receive at least 4% increase, bring the city's pay rates more in line with market value. Many employees will receive a higher percentage increase based on factors that include longevity, both with the city and time in position, cost of living, and current pay scale in regards to market compensation values. But no full-time employee will receive less than 4% increase. We would increase the starting pay for police officers to $45,000 and firefighters to $42,000. We would also increase all sports center part-time employees that are currently making $10 an hour up to $11 an hour to try to increase that recruiting there. Total cost for the implementation of these measures will be approximately $538,649.84. If approved by City Council on April 17th, staff will make the necessary system changes that same week for the pay period ending April 24th. So all employees would see the pay adjustments on their check beginning in April the 28th. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Putnam. You all remember we had the comp and class study. We brought Evergreen in. They did a very windy presentation, talk about where the city's at with our employees in relation to other cities, other municipalities. Part of what came out of that was what you see before you. Mr. Duncan, after looking at where we're at financially with the city, felt it a good idea to bring this before us and have us at least consider whether or not we want to go ahead and implement it. So with that said, we ask that it bring before this committee to talk about. We'll open
Mr.
it up.
Chair, for the sake of discussion, I would like to go ahead and make a motion for committee to forward to full council on April 17th the recommendation from Evergreen Solutions concerning the 2022 comp and class study, increasing our employees' pay accordingly.
Thank you, Ms. King. We have a motion to forward this to full council with the recommendation of approval. Thank you, Ms. King. We have a motion and a second.
Second.
A motion and a second. Now is where we can open the floor for discussion. Ms. King.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. I think I've been very vocal on how impressed I was with the comp and class study that we received from Evergreen. This is a strange day and time for employment, recruitment, retention. I personally see it every day in my day-to-day career. It's just a crazy time. Based off of what Evergreen presented to council, and the fact that our city administrator feels strongly that our numbers will come in to support this increase, I think it's imperative that this committee approve sending this to council for council's recommendation. A fellow council member sitting next to me made a comment on Friday in a meeting I was in with him that actually that was another comment. This is Mauldin. But anyway, our employees deserve this. Our city deserves them to be paid accordingly. And I'm just thankful that the numbers are coming in to support us being able to increase the pay. I know that there were times not too long ago that we did not have the budget that would allow us. So it was, hard to give 2% and 3% raises. I will be quiet now. I'm very passionate about this, and I just think that the study was fantastic. Thank you, Mark, for your hard work. And hopefully it'll all work out in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Ms. King. Any other comments or questions? Okay. Probably the only thing, and Mr. Putnam, you and I have talked about it a little, sorry, Mr. Duncan and I have talked about it a little bit. Certainly this council made a investment into Evergreen, trying to make sure that we are on par with other municipalities, that we are paying and providing a working environment, not through just a financial working environment that's beneficial to our employees, but a culture that's beneficial to our employees. And so there's an investment there for that. The only concern I have about this, Mr. Duncan, is being mid-budget year. It would be something that, as I look at it, I'd prefer to do on the new budget year. But by the same token, I do think the numbers are saying that the city could sustain this. So with that said, I don't mind sending it to full council and let the rest of the council discuss it and go from there. So I had a motion and a second discussion. Yes.
I was just reminded of the quote that I fumbled over that I could not think of. And the comment was, we always say we want to run government like a business. Business pays its people. We need to pay ours. Thank you, Mr. Matney.
You should ask him if he wanted to be quoted that way first. He's funny about that stuff.
He was good with it.
Okay. All those in favor of sending this to full council with the recommendation of approval, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, it carries unanimous. They'll be forwarded to full council with a recommendation of approval. Okay, next item I have is public comment. Hearing and seeing none online. Any concerns? Hearing and seeing none present. What do I hear on adjournment?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a
Second.
second? I have a motion and a second for adjournment. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. This meeting is adjourned. The time is 6:41. The next committee meeting is going to be Public Works.
Yeah, I drew a blank.
It is now 6:42 PM. Call to order the Public Works Committee meeting. I have here Ms. Carol King and Mr. Michael Reynolds. First, to start with public comment. Any public comment? Nothing online? Okay, reading and approval of minutes. What do I hear?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion. We approve the minutes for Public Works Committee dated March 6th, 2023.
I have a motion. A second?
Second.
A second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like signs. Ayes have it. All right, now we go to reports, communications from city officers. Mr. Freeman.
Thank you, Chair. This point of the year, we're supposed to have about approximately 26% of our budgets remaining. With the exception of sanitation, we are 30 to 35% range. Like I've mentioned in previous meetings, sanitation is going to be a little bit over this year based on the cost of fuel and oil and associated tipping.
Questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Freeman. Unfinished business, there is no unfinished business. New business, sports center roof.
All right, what you have before you is an authorization to execute or send to council for a vote, a contract between the city of Mauldin and Guy Roofing for the replacement of the roof at the sports center. Roof of the sports center is original from what was constructed about 16 years ago. Public Works has been dealing with it. It seems like every time it rains for the last 4 years. We've caulked it, we've tarred it, we've done everything we could. It's just the flat roof up there has met its life expectancy and it's at the point of failure. During the capital portion of the budget for the fiscal year 2022-2023, you guys went ahead and designated $150,000 for the replacement of that roof. We solicited bids in accordance with our purchasing policy. We got 7 responsible bidders. A review committee was put together. And in that agenda item, you can see the tabulation of the scores. And what you have before you is actually a recommendation based on the scores that Curtis, Broughton, Bart, myself, and Willie provided to go with Guy Roofing. They would go ahead and it would come in under budget. It would allow for a little incidental cost. But they did provide unit prices. You know, thing with roofs is you don't know what's underneath it. You might have some damaged flashing. We might have some wet decking. We may have bad insulation. Their bid actually provided unit prices in the case that those were seen during the roof replacement process. So Public Works is recommending that we go ahead and execute the contract with Guy Roofing at $129,900. And that I'm also asking if it's possible to authorize the city administrator to approve any change orders up to the budget amount of $150,000 in the event that deteriorated decking or insulation are discovered during the installation process. The reason I'm doing this is the roof installation process is going to be a 10 to 14-day event. In the event that we have this and it has to come back to council, if we did not to exceed $129,000, we'd be at a point where we didn't have a roof because of the speed at the committee and council meeting. And lastly, the contract that was provided that's in your packet right now, I had Daniel Hughes review it. He ended up changing 3 clauses. Number 16 and 18 had an indemnification clause Those are being stricken, and number 20, which had dealt with arbitration, has been modified, the updated version of that contract, because both parties have now come to an agreement. We provided tomorrow morning and will be included in the council packet for the meeting on the 17th.
What did I hear?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion to send to full council with a recommendation of approval the contract with Guy Roofing for $129,000 and to authorize the city administrator to approve all change orders up to $150,000, which was the budgeted amount for this item, in the event that there's contingencies unforeseen.
I have a motion. And a second.
Did I say 129?
Yes,
I'd like to amend that motion to say 129.9.
thank you. I will second that.
Second, any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, like sign. You guys have it. This will be forwarded to full committee, full council. Thank you. All right. Move on to public comments. Have any? Nothing online? Committee concerns? None? All right. What do I hear on adjournment?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
Appreciate your process there, by the way.
See what he does.
All right, at 6:49, calling EPD committee to order here on April 3rd. Everybody's here that needs to be here. Public comment. All right, there will be another opportunity. What do I hear on reading and approval of minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January 3rd, 2023 as submitted.
Motion to approve as submitted. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Reports, communications from city officers.
Good evening, members of the committee. Pleasure to be in front of you after a little hiatus while we're getting some work done. Ideal budget. We'll talk about finances first. Ideal budget 26%. The community development operating budget is at 47%. Large quantities of money in office supplies, employee expenses, and special projects are the main categories for that one. We will be drawing down some money. We're going to outfit the cultural center with a few heavy capital items. So we'll be pulling on those reserves in a little bit. As far as the cultural center, the H&A, we're sitting at 28%, and we are planning all of the good festival events, which I will get to in my report. Any questions on finances? Okay. So here's some project updates for what we've been working on the last few months. Some developments in City Center Village, BB&T building. Our contact, Stuart Wyeth, gave this report. Entails finalizing plans and have a contractor on board for the core and shell work. Vacant space not being occupied is 2,400 square feet. Electrical service will be restricted to 200 amp service, but Pentel plans to install underground sleeves and a transformer pad to prepare for larger electrical loads. They're also bringing gas into the building. Pentel plans to start exterior renovations early summer, and they plan to have marketing materials for us this month. That's BB&T building. Any questions on that? Right-of-way acquisition, I think we're going to save that for a little bit later in the meeting, so I'll save that piece of it. Regarding Maverick Yards, Drew Parker has been working with me and city administrator to identify closing date. We have this Wednesday, identify as the closing date for that. Daniel Hughes is working on closing documents with their attorney, Mr. John Walker, coolest name ever. And and then from there, we should have their closing, and then it'll be in their hands to start doing development. Any questions on that?
That is Wednesday, April 5th, 2023.
2023, yes, sir. Yes. Mauldin Cultural Center update. We have Cats that is performing Friday, Saturday, Sunday between March 30th, 1st and April 16th. Tickets are about 50% sold at this point. Welcome all city council members to be a part of that. Your tickets are comp, of course, and we welcome you to share with friends and family so they may buy a ticket. That would be wonderful. Mauldin Blues and Jazz Festival will be Saturday, April 29th between 2 p.m. and 9 p.m. Musical lineup will be Albert Cummings, Mac Arnold, Greenville Jazz Collective, and Ilian Rose Cuban Jazz Band. Mauldin City Singers will present the Songs of Faith in recognition of the spring season. Show times are April 22nd at 3 and 7 p.m. and April 23rd at 3 p.m. MCC Shakes will perform Love's Labor's Lost the weekend of May 5th through 7th at 7:30 each night. They'll be in the amphitheater. New lineup at the Cultural Center Theater production is You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. Tickets go on sale April the 14th. Shows will be Saturday and Sunday, running March 27th, 28th, and then June 3rd and June 4th. Excuse me, May 27th and 28th, June 3rd, June 4th. And then we're pleased to announce with great fanfare and reception, Amped Up Fridays. New bands for the summer concert series has received overwhelmingly positive feedback on our social media. We still retain beach music. We have a lot of beach bands that will be familiar. We've added some classic rock to the mix. The lineup includes the Vinyl Junkies, Shag Doctors, Rhythm City Band, the Mighty Kicks, the Tams, the Flashbacks, the Holiday Band, the Jamie Wright Band, the Entertainers, and the Catalinas, all organized by our own Gina McEntee. Yes, extraordinaire in planning on that side. So that is a quick rundown of what has been happening and what will be happening in the Community Development Department. Any questions?
Gina, did he forget anything? Any question for JR? Thank you.
I'll stand attention for more.
And so now that takes us to the Mauldin Trail, I believe.
Yes, sir. That's me, sir. So just wanted to give the committee a quick update on the Mauldin Trail. We will be meeting with county stormwater folks later this week. One of the big issues we've been waiting on for final completion of the AECom portion to the bridge itself is a question over stormwater. Council had authorized as back, I believe, in December for additional revenue to be put towards a stormwater permit that needed to be gained. Right now, we're looking at having to install a stormwater detention pond near or at the bend of the curve. We will be meeting with the stormwater folks at Greenville County to see if we have some other options that are less costly. We could be looking at an expense of up to $180,000 in additional funding in order to complete that section. Of the 25 with would be included in that as well. And so we hope to be able to bring that number down later this week, and we'll report back to this committee and to council as far as where we need to go and where to get the Mauldin Trail.
Anybody have any questions for Seth on that? All right. So with that, we'll go ahead with no unfinished business. We'll move on to new business, the Cultural Center mural.
Yes, I will not read verbatim the memo that's in the packet, but just to put it succinctly, yeah, I try to give enough information to be dangerous. We wish to beautify the Cultural Center building. There are a lot of places where they have been enclosed windows, old doors, and they're just ugly brown slabs that are there. And so no disrespect to Public Works. They did a good job putting them up. That's good. Before your time. Excellent. No insult intended, no insult gained. So we have beautification opportunities that are right there. And so one of the places that we wish to install a mural is the awning area that is on the north side of the building, west of those enclosures. And so we have prepared documentation in your packet that shows the concepts for murals that we wish to put there. The idea of this mural is that we would like to have something that is interactive. This will be during the Mauldin Blues and Jazz Festival, where school-age children can come up and basically see themselves in the work of art, paint faces that either reflect their own likeness, because we are a very diverse, multicultural community, and that should be reflected in our art. And so we have these spaces that you can see in the packet of these little globular images in a patch quilt type of design. And around the border, it's Mauldin at the top and the bottom, and then you are the art, to encourage arts education and arts impression in our youth. And so the idea is they would paint faces under supervision of the artist who will paint the mural and of me, yours truly, to make sure that nothing seen as painted on the wall. And if there are such occurrences, then they would be corrected, painted over, and another child given another turn. And so that is the idea for that one. Ms. McAtee helped coordinate and organize this project, so she is here in case we have any questions. But that, in a nutshell, is that. And so I'll be happy to take any questions about this and address any concerns you may have for it.
Does anybody have any questions for JR or Gina?
Not really a question as much as a comment. I don't. I fully support, I'll put it that way. I fully support doing a mural. These, the color, and I don't know if this is just a concept of an idea or if this is what's going to be there. The color and some of the faces on here just kind of strange, in my opinion. Just my opinion. But I think it's a good idea and it gets the children involved.
So I have had some council members approach me and say that they would like to have an opportunity to weigh in on this. So if we can get it out of committee tonight and move it on to full council so everybody can weigh in, I'd love for us to be able to do that.
Okay, I'll make a motion to send this mural installation at Mauldin Cultural Center to full council for their weigh-in.
May I ask you to amend that just to send it to full council? Because with the festival at the end of the month, we wouldn't have another opportunity to meet unless we did a special call meeting specifically to deal with the mural. So if we could have a pathway that it's either voted up or down after the discussion happens, then we don't have to worry about a special call meeting to try and fill it in before the jazz festival.
Okay.
Entirely up to you though, Ms. Kuzner.
Okay, so making a motion to forward this mural installation to full council is, you want me to reword that?
I think the way you just said it was fine.
Okay, I thought that's what I said before.
Yeah, but you said just for input.
Oh, I'm sorry, no, not for input, for full council. Thank
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of forwarding this to full council, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and we're taking that one to full council. That leaves us one more piece. Mr. Duncan, you want to take this? Or is this coming from JR?
I'm absolutely happy to.
Okay.
This is a great project. So
Wonderful project.
absolutely. And so I'm proud to bring this to council. So as you may be aware to the committee, that in order for the city to sell any property, we actually have to have an ordinance. And so what you have before you tonight is an ordinance to sell 1,456 square feet of property in front of McPhail Animal Hospital for parking and other uses to McPhail Revocable Trust, which will allow the city to acquire their necessary right-of-way acquisition there on Jenkins Court and Jenkins Street in order to install sidewalks and the streetscaping improvements for City Center.
This is a good day. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Duncan?
I
Ms. Kuzner?
I have a question just for clarification. I think, did you say that it was going to be in front of the building?
Yes, ma'am. So right where the parking is now for Dr. McPhail. So there's
Yes.
a thin strip that we are basically deeding over to Dr. McPhail. In order to do that, we have to pass an ordinance to do that. So it looks like a sale and that's how we have to process it. But
Okay,
yes, ma'am. But it's that thin strip that will give Dr. McPhail enough space for parking in front of his building. And then we also moved over the right of way as well and thinned out the sidewalk as part of that arrangement. So that
okay.
thin gray strip, that's what, yes, ma'am, that thin gray strip. right
Okay,
there.
because to me that looked like it was on the side. The it
Well-
looked like it was on the side of the building because it's on Jenkins
The Jenkins Court.
Court
I
instead
call
of
that the front.
Jenkins
I
Street.
apologize.
Okay, so it's actually on the side of the building.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it's by the dry, the
It's where the current parking lot is.
Queen Laundry.
That side of the building, yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am. The Jenkins Court side.
okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions, clarification or otherwise?
To make a, like to make a motion to forward to full council, the, I'm sorry, the contract for the sale of the portion of the property along Jenkins Court to McPhail Revocable Trust.
All right, we have a motion from Mr. Crayling. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Ms. Kuzner. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And we will forward that to full council. That brings us to our second public comment period. Please have Doc's words put into the minutes. Committee concerns. That leaves one more motion. What do we hear on adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. We're done.